And make your way into tabletop from here. So hands and knees. And make sure you're comfortable. So if your wrists get really uncomfortable supporting you in tabletop, it can be great to place blocks down and use forearms instead. But once you've found a comfortable way to be in tabletop, drop your stomach towards the floor, lift your tailbone, lift your chin, and come into cow. And then take your time coming from cow into cat. So arching your back, dropping your chin towards your chest, tucking your tail. And take a few moments transitioning from cat to cow at your own pace. You might decide you want to bring in a little bit of lateral movement. So you might try some barrel rolls. Maybe you're in cat and you roll your body over towards one side and then drop it back down into cow, roll it over to the other side and back up into cat. Or you could just find some free form movement here. That can always feel good. Listening to your body, noticing what it really wants to do. When you're ready, come back to center. And from here, you might stretch back through your left hips, seeing if you can find any kind of a stretch or useful feeling there. So you may stretch back on the diagonal. You might bend through your elbows if that's useful. And then come up and try it on the right side. So sending your right hips back. Pressing back on a diagonal. And try that a few times on both sides. You can move however quickly or slowly you like. When you're ready, come back to center. And extend your left leg out to the side. So you're in tabletop, but your left leg is out pretty straight with your foot on the floor. And from here, send your hips back to whatever degree they'd like to go. Maybe they don't want to go at all, but Notice what you're feeling. Are you feeling a stretch through the inner thigh area or maybe through your hamstring? You might feel it plenty of other places. But notice if finding a little bit of movement there might be useful. So maybe it's not, but maybe sending your hips back and then drawing them forward a few times might work out for you. Take a few moments to explore that. And when you're ready, you can switch sides. So come back up if your hips are down. Draw your leg in and extend the other one out as you're ready. And try the same thing here. As you're ready, come back up to center and draw your leg back in. So you're back in tabletop. And from here, extend your left leg back out again, that first leg. I think it was our left leg. And then walk your hands back towards your knee and come up into a tall kneeling position. And once you're here in the tall kneeling position, notice if that sensation feels any different. So does that feel like more or less of a stretch? And notice if the position of your foot on that extended leg is okay for you. So you can adjust it any way you want. It's generally going to be somewhat in line with your knee, but maybe you need it to be a little more forward, a little more back. From here, extend your right arm up to whatever degree feels right and see if you can find some space by grounding down through that standing knee and lifting up through your extended fingertips. Maybe think about drawing your shoulder up and your hip down to make some space in your body. And if you'd like to, you might lean towards that extended leg. And if having your arm up doesn't feel right, you would also have your hand at your hip. You might have your hand behind your head. Just find a place where it really works for you to find some space in your side body here. And then as you're ready, you can come back to center. Maybe extend both arms out in a big T. And this is kind of like a version of warrior two here. So warrior two, we're usually standing up pretty tall with our, in a lunge with our hips facing the side, our chest open to the side. Take a few deep breaths. And then if you feel it coming back into that side stretch, you might try that. So maybe drawing your arm up, maybe drawing it to the front, maybe bringing a hand behind your head or keeping your hand at your hip. You might try all those options to find Which one really works for your body right now? And if you're in that side stretch, come back to center. Bring your hands back down to the floor. Walk them back out into tabletop. Bring your extended leg in and then stretch your right leg out to the side. When you feel stable, walk your hands back towards your standing knee and lift yourself up. And same thing here. So notice what you're feeling and where, and find a really stable place to place your extended foot. So notice what you're feeling in your hip, your inner thigh. There can be a lot of sensation here. And then maybe you stretch that left arm up. Maybe you bring your hand behind your head. You might choose to keep your hand at your hip. Wherever you are, see if you can create some space in that left side of your body. And you might start by taking a deep inhale and seeing if you can send that air more into the right side of your body. So literally you can't, but what would that feel like if you attempted to do it? You might consider thinking about creating more space between your shoulder and your hip on that side. And if you would like to lean towards that extended leg, you could try that. And maybe notice, does it feel different on this side than it did on the first? I always notice that these side bends feel quite a bit different in my body. And if you're in that leaning position, you might come back to center, maybe extend your arms out to the side for this low version of warrior two, and take a few deep breaths. Can you make space in both sides of your body? As you're ready, you can bring your arms down, bring your hands down to the floor, walk them out into tabletop, and bring your extended leg back in. Once you're back in tabletop, if it feels good to stretch your hips back to the sides, you might try that a few times. If child's pose feels useful to you, you might try child's pose. Any version of child's pose, which essentially is bringing your hips back towards your heels. Your knees can be wide, they can be together, but finding a restful position, maybe stacking your hands to make a pillow, maybe bringing your forehead to the floor.